அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். இந்த அழகான மாலை நேரத்துல இன்னொரு சுவாரஸ்யமான நிகழ்ச்சியில உங்க எல்லாரையும் சந்திக்கிறதுல ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். நம்ம கொலராடோ தமிழ் சங்கம் என்னைக்குமே புதுமைக்கும் புத்துணர்ச்சிக்கும் பஞ்சமே இல்லாத ஒரு இடம். அப்படி புதுமை புத்துணர்ச்சி மட்டும் இல்லாம ரொம்ப பயனுள்ளதாவும் இருக்கிற ஒரு நிகழ்ச்சியை தான் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போற டாபிக் என்ன அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் அண்ட் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பிளானிங் பத்தி தான். சோ லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் எல்லாம் கொஞ்ச நாள் முன்னாடி வரைக்கும் ஒரு ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்டான ஒரு விஷயமா இருந்ததா அப்படின்னா எனக்கு அவ்வளவா அது இம்பார்ட்டன்டா இருந்த மாதிரி தோணல. பட் இப்ப சமீப காலத்துல கொஞ்சம் கடந்த சில ஆண்டுகள்ல மக்கள் நிறைய அதை பத்தி பேசுறாங்க. நம்மளை சுத்தி இருக்கிறவங்க, நம்மளோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ், ரிலேட்டிவ்ஸ் எல்லாருமே இதை பத்தி நிறைய பேசுறாங்க. இதுக்கு என்ன காரணம் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, வாழ்க்கைங்கிறது ரொம்ப ஒரு அன்சர்டனான ஒரு விஷயம். பிக் பாஸ் நிகழ்ச்சியில சொல்ற மாதிரி எதிர்பாராததை எதிர்பாருங்கள் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஆயிடுச்சு வாழ்க்கை. இதுக்கு முக்கிய காரணம் என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, ரொம்ப நம்ம சில ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னாடி ரொம்ப கேளிக்கையா இன்னைக்கு செத்தா நாளைக்கு பாலு, இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிறவங்க நாளைக்கு இல்ல, இப்படி எல்லாம் சொன்ன நிறைய விஷயம் இன்னைக்கு வாழ்நாள்ல நடைமுறையில நிறைய பாக்குறோம். நம்மளுடைய ஈட்டிங் ஹேபிட்ஸ், வாழ்க்கையோட லைஃப் ஸ்டைல் இதெல்லாமுமே நிறைய மாறி இருக்கு. அது இல்லாம நம்மளுடைய வேலையுடைய சுமை, வேலை பளு. இப்ப நாங்கெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, எங்க வீட்டுல நானும் எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் 2 பேருமே வேலை செய்வோம். அதனால அவ்வளவு ஒரு ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்டா போய்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். இதெல்லாம் வாழ்க்கையில நிறைய அன்சர்டனிட்டிஸ கொண்டு வந்திருக்கு. இன்னும் சொல்லணும்னா, கடந்த 2 வருஷத்துல பாத்தீங்கன்னா, நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில நிறைய விஷயங்கள் புரட்டி போட்டிருக்கு. நமக்கு ரொம்ப தெரிஞ்சவங்க, நம்மளே நிறைய ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர்ஸ், இவங்க எல்லாரையுமே நம்ம பார்த்திருக்கோம். நிறைய பேரை அஃபெக்ட் ஆயிருக்காங்க கொரோனா தொற்று மூலியமா. இது நம்ம கொரோனா தொற்று ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது நம்ம என்ன நினைச்சோம்னா, இது ரொம்ப வயசானவங்களதான் அஃபெக்ட் பண்ணும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சோம். அப்புறம் கொஞ்ச நாள் கழிச்சு பார்த்தா ப்ரீ எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் கண்டிஷன்ஸ் இருக்கிறவங்களதான் அஃபெக்ட் பண்ணும் அப்படின்லாம் நினைச்சோம். பட் நிறைய பேரோட வாழ்க்கை இதுல அன்சர்டனா இருக்கு அப்படிங்கறத நமக்கு உணர்த்தின ஒரு விஷயம் இந்த கொரோனா அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். சோ இந்த மாதிரி அன்சர்டனிட்டிஸ் வாழ்க்கையில இருந்தாலும், நம்மளையும் நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்கிறவங்களும் நம்ம இருந்தாலும் இல்லைனாலும் வாழ்க்கைய சந்தோஷமா லீட் பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு விஷயத்துக்காக நம்ம எடுக்கிற ஒரு சின்ன முயற்சி தான் இந்த லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் சேவிங். அதுலயும் குறிப்பா நம்ம ஏன் இன்னைக்கு அத பாக்குறோம் அப்படின்னா, இன்னைக்கு நாள் 9/11. சோ 9/11ங்கிறது நம்ம அமெரிக்கால மட்டும் இல்ல, அக்ராஸ் த வேர்ல்ட், உலகம் முழுக்க மறக்கவே முடியாத ஒரு நாள். 2000க்கும் மேற்பட்டவங்க நம்மள மாதிரி சாதாரணமா காலையில எழுந்து வேலைக்கு போனவங்க வீடு திரும்பவே இல்லை 21 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி. அது அந்த மாதிரி ஆன நிறைய அன்சர்டனிட்டிஸும் நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில இருக்கு. சோ அதை எப்படி நம்ம இந்த லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் மூலியமா எதிர்கொள்ள முடியும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்காக தான் இந்த ஈவெண்ட் மெயினா நம்ம பாக்குறோம். அது மட்டும் இல்ல, லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸோட கான்செப்டே இப்ப ரொம்ப மாறி இருக்கு. இது ஒரு அதோடைய பலனை நம்ம வாழ்நாள்லயே கூட பார்க்க முடியும் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி எல்லாம் டேர்ம் இன்சூரன்ஸ், ஹோல் லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் மாதிரி நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு. சோ அதெல்லாம் பத்தியும் நம்ம இன்னைக்கு தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். அதுக்கப்புறம் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச ஒரு டாபிக் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட். நான்லாம் வேலைக்கு ஆரம்பிக்கும் போதே எப்ப ரிட்டையர் ஆகும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு கனவோட வேலையை ஆரம்பிச்ச ஒரு ஆளு. 50 வயசுலாம் ரிட்டையர் ஆயிடணும், அப்படி இருக்கணும், அம்பானி மாதிரி இருக்கணும் 50 வயசுக்கு மேல அப்படின்லாம் நினைச்ச ஒரு ஆள் நானு. சோ ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பத்தியும் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இன்னைக்கு நம்ம இந்த நிகழ்ச்சி மூலியமா தெரிஞ்சுக்க போறோம். அதுவும் நம்ம இப்ப அமெரிக்கால இருக்கோம், சுத்தி நிறைய பேரை பாக்குறோம். அதுவும் இந்த ஊர்க்காரங்க எல்லாம் பார்த்தா 70 வயசுக்கு மேல ஐம் கோயிங் அப் டு தி மவுண்டன்ஸ், ஐம் கோயிங் ஃபார் ஃபிஷிங் அப்படின்னுவாங்க. அவங்க எல்லாம் பார்க்கும்போது வாழ்றாயா இந்த ஆளு அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கும். சோ அதுக்கான ஒரு அழகான நிகழ்ச்சி தான் இன்னைக்கு இந்த லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் அண்ட் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுக்கிறதுக்கு. இத பத்தி நான் அதிகமா சொல்றதை விட இதுலயே பயங்கரமான ஒரு எக்ஸ்பர்ட் சொன்னாருன்னா ரொம்ப நல்லா இருக்கும். அப்படிங்கிறதுக்காக இன்னைக்கு திரு சந்துரு சுந்தரேசன் அவர்களை கூட்டிட்டு வந்திருக்கோம். இவரை பத்தி சொல்லணும்னா, இவர் ஒரு நிதி சேவை நிபுணர், அதாவது பினான்சியல் சர்வீசஸ் ப்ரொஃபஷனல். இவர் நிறைய குடும்பங்களுக்கு 2018ஆம் ஆண்டுல இருந்து வெல்த் பில்டிங் அட்வைசஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுத்துட்டு வராரு. இவரோட ஸ்பெஷலைசேஷன் எல்லாம் என்னன்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, வில் அண்ட் ட்ரஸ்ட், லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ், அப்புறம் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பிளானிங், IRA ரோல் ஓவர், குழந்தைங்களுடைய படிப்புக்கான சேமிப்பு, பென்ஷன் பிளான், ரியல் எஸ்டேட் இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட், இது எல்லாத்துலயுமே இவர் அட்வைஸ் கொடுத்துட்டு இருக்காரு. அதையும் விட ரொம்ப முக்கியமான விஷயம் 2011 இருந்து 13ஆம் ஆண்டு வரைக்கும் நம்ம கொலராடோ தமிழ்ச்சங்கத்துல வெப் மாஸ்டரா இருந்திருக்காரு. சோ இவரை நம்ம இன்னைக்கு இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு வரவேற்கிறோம். இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு போகிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு சின்ன அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட். நம்ம கொலராடோ தமிழ்ச்சங்கத்துல என்னைக்குமே புதுமைக்கும் புத்துணர்ச்சிக்கும் ஒரு அளவே இல்லை அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்லிக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். அப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு புதிய முயற்சி தான் நம்மளோட பிளட் டிரைவ் போய்கிட்டு இருக்கு. இத பத்தின சர்வே இப்போ நிறைய இமெயில் வந்திருக்கு. சோ மக்கள் தயவு செஞ்சு அதை பாருங்க, சைன் அப் பண்ணுங்க. 40 ஸ்லாட்ஸ் இருக்கு. 40 ஸ்லாட்ஸ் இருந்தாதான் நம்மளால இந்த பிளட் டிரைவ நடத்த முடியும் சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா. அதுல 23 ஸ்லாட் ஃபில்அப் ஆயிருக்கு அப்படின்னு நம்ம ராதா சார் காலையில சொன்னாரு. சோ இன்னும் நம்மளுடைய சமூகத்தை சேர்ந்தவங்க எல்லாரும் ஒண்ணு திரண்டு இந்த பிளட் டிரைவ் கேம்ப் நல்லா நடத்தணும். தானத்துல சிறந்த தானம் அன்னதானம், ஆனா அதை விட ரொம்ப சிறந்த தானம் ரத்த தானம். சோ கண்டிப்பா எல்லாரும் இதுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுங்க. இப்போ இன்னைக்கு நிகழ்ச்சிக்குள்ள போகலாம். திரு சந்துரு சுந்தரேசன் அவர்களை நிகழ்ச்சியை நடத்துமாறு கேட்டுக்கிறேன்.
ரொம்ப நன்றி பிரசாந்தி. சோ எல்லோருக்கும் வணக்கம். இந்த வாய்ப்பை அளித்த தமிழ் கொலராடோ அசோசியேஷனுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். So in the presentation mostly like I want to start with giving some concepts, start with the concept, then I'll go into the detail. Okay. So let me start sharing my screen. So in the session la enna paaka porom appadina இன்னைக்கு a couple of concepts, especially financial house. So what is financial house? So why do we need a deep understanding of the financial house? Next pathina financial X curve. Some of you may already heard about it, but I want to give more detail. So importance of coverage. So when it comes to life insurance pathina everyone has like a different kind of insurance, lingla. Car insurance, home insurance, or some people have like a cell phone insurance. But when it comes to the life, not many people have the life insurance. So that's a reality. They think it's not needed. So next pathina, what is a different type of insurance? There are so many different varieties and types out there. So I want to give a better picture and a better understanding so that you can make a better decision based on that in my input. So everyone everyone has like a insurance from their employer. So they always think that insurance is more than enough. But ideally that insurance is not adequate. So I want to show the difference between the employee insurance versus, so let's say if you have an insurance like outside of an employer. And I want to go into like a permanent insurance. So what is the difference between the term insurance and permanent insurance? So next pathina is a DIME analysis. DIME analysis is nothing but how do you know like how much coverage you need? There is a simple formula. So everyone just calculate ourselves, and based on that whatever that amount comes in, you can decide. So the last topic I have is like a college and the retirement planning overview. But so I will spend only the very little amount of time on the college retirement planning. Pathina, those two topics itself it will take at least another hour, I would say. Yeah, so please hold on to your questions. At the end of the sessions, bring up all your questions. I'll be able to answer. Okay. So let's look at that financial prioritization, right? So what we have here, this is like a financial house. இப்போ வீடுன்னு எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா நமக்கு what is the most important in our house? But let's say you are building a house, right? Foundation is the most important. So likewise, so we have a foundation, we have to have a foundation for our financial planning. So if you look at that triangle, we have like a defensive planning and offensive planning. So defensive planning is nothing but what you don't expect to happen, right? So let's say you have a car insurance, you have a home insurance. We don't really expect something bad happens, right? But we have insurance for that to protect it. So when you do defensive planning, so what you are doing is you are basically protecting few things, right? So one of the thing is whatever you earn, you are earning good amount of money right now. What if there is a situation you are not able to make that income? how you are going to overcome it, right? You need to protect that. So next thing is what you own. Let's say you have like a car or like, other big assets, like a home. Definitely, when you buy, it comes to home, that's one of the biggest expenditure everyone has, right? Easily, the mortgage could be like, the balance could be anywhere between 100,000 to 600,000. Depends on, the amount of, the price of the house. So you need to protect that. So the next thing is what you owe. So meaning, for example, if you have like a car or, if you have a new car, or if you have like a credit card loan, so how you are going to take care of the loan? Something unexpected happened to you, right? So the next part is those you love, right? So in every houses, right? Not all, both husband and wife will be working. So some houses, most of the houses, I would say a husband will be working, wife don't have any job. What happened? Something unexpected happened to the husband, right? Breadwinner. How the family going to take care of the expenses, right? So this is kind of a defensive planning. So offensive planning is nothing but what you expect to happen in future. For example, you are looking to buy a home in 3 years down the road. Definitely, you will be starting to save down payment, right? If it's a house is like a 500,000, so you need to save at least 20%, $100,000. So you are going to plan that purchase, right? So in case of any emergency, you need to take care of, those emergency situations. You have to have at least 6 months of, savings at hand, right? So next comes to the college education, right? So that's one of the biggest expenses, right? College expenses. So it would cost anywhere between 150,000 to 200,000 for a one kid to graduate like a 4-year college. So again, it depends on which college your son or daughter are going. It could be like a community college, it could be like a private college or out of state college. So you have to plan for that. And next comes the retirement planning. So by default, most folks, what they do is they do the 401k or the employer sponsored retirement planning. Only very few people, they look for retirement planning outside. What other options, we have, right? So these are the offensive planning. You have to plan well. So the next step is like aggressive planning. So meaning, let's say you want to make investments. You want to make sure that you are diversifying your investments, basically, to reduce the risk. So you don't want to put everything in one basket, right? Definitely, let's say you are, here an example, you are like maximizing your 401k. You are putting like a 19,500. Is that a good solution? Probably not. There may be some better options available. So you may want to know about it so that you can make a better decision. The next part is, if you look at that inflation right now, it's like a 8.5% inflation. So if your investments is not making at least 5%, per year, definitely you are not beating the inflation. So you want to make sure that your investment gives more than 5% at least. Okay. So next comes the anything tax efficiency oriented things you could do. You could save on how you can learn about how to save taxes. Taxes is the biggest thing, right? So believe it or not, right now we are in the lowest tax bracket. So when you happen to retire, so do you think the taxes will be less? Definitely not, right? So you have to make sure that you have to plan well. Okay. So let me switch over to that another concept. So this is called a financial X curve, right? So what this is you are basically securing your present and securing your future. Okay. There is like a 4 quadrant in this financial X curve, right? So the number one is, so when you are young, right, you will have definitely more responsibilities. Let's say you are young and you are just got married, or you have children, right? Definitely your responsibility is way higher. So you will have some debt, like a car loan or credit card loan or any other loan or student loan. You just graduated and you just got a job. Definitely you will have some, education loans out there. And the next thing is the expenses. So expenses meaning monthly expenses. So you need to take care of it for the family, right? Next comes the mortgage. Mortgage is the biggest expenses. So in your portfolio. And education. So as I mentioned before, it will easily cost anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000 for a kid. So you have to better plan it. So what happens if I'm not around? So meaning I didn't come home yesterday, right? Something happened to me, I pass away. So what will happen? So you have to think about it. So especially when your spouse is not working, you know what will happen? Obviously, GoFundMe account. I'm sure everyone in this call would have seen those, right? So we don't want to, our family to go through that basically. So you want to make sure that you protect your family in a proper way so that, their need is taken care of until the child goes out of the college. He or she stands on her own, right? So when you are young, so you work for a money, right? So you want to make sure that you take care of all that protection need. So as you age, right? So your income is going to grow up. So let's say you are making $100,000 a year, right? This year, next year, definitely it could be more. So year after year, your income is going to keep on increasing. So you will be start building wealth, right? So you may be buying properties, you may be doing other stock market investments, all sort of things. So the number two, what if I have a long retirement? So when it comes to retirement, most people won't put much thought into it, right? I would say plan for 20 years of retirement. Let's say you plan to retirement at age at 60 or 65, right? Plan for another 20 years. Okay. So there are a number of ways you could save for retirement. As you can see, 401k is the default method, right? So employer sponsored retirement plan. So most employer, so they match certain percentage, like a 3% or 5%. You can contribute that, or you can put little more, right? And another, so gold is a good investment, real estate, stock market, Bitcoin, business, etc. So on the later age, money should be working for you. So you shouldn't be working for money. So that's the point I want to try to get. Okay. So one of the other thing here is the medical cost when it comes to retirement, right? So we may think, oh, I will get a Medicare or Medicaid, some kind of government, the plan. So yes, it is available, it will be available, but there are so many restrictions here. So one of the example is, let's say if the person need to stay in a nursing care, the Medicare pays only first 100 days, right? It will not pay after 100 days. It will easily cost anywhere between, $80,000 to $100,000 for a person to stay in a hospice or, private care. So the long term, it is going to be very expensive. We may not know much about it. We may not think too much, but if you take care of those, so it will come in handy when the time comes. Okay. So I can talk about how you can take care of that need, basically. So the number three is in between, kind of, what if the person is disabled, right? So most employer, they provide like a short-term disability and long-term disability. So that will cover probably 60% of the salary they may pay still, if you are not able to work. So what if we don't have a job? How are you going to replace that income? Let's say some unexpected happens, some critical chronic illness, could be heart attack or anything else, right? Somehow you lost your job in that case. How are you going to take care of it? So you need to think about it. Okay. So the number four is like, especially when it comes to protection for the kids. I know I have done a session before on the will and trust. That's one of the most important thing, especially when you have like a young kids. Because when the person if both parents pass away, the state will take over basically. So the person has to go through the court probate process. The state will decide. They will appoint an attorney. It's a completely different process. So you don't want to do that to happen basically. So you want to make sure that you have a proper, will and trust done. So you can decide how you want to distribute that assets, things like that. So these are the concepts, this explains. So now I'll jump into basically the importance of coverage, basically, right? So as the XCO itself pretty much explained is a kind of self-explanatory. So these are some of the important things, you need to take care of it, right? If one of the parent is passed away, who is the breadwinner, who is the earning in that home, right? So there are many expenses, right? So you need a day-to-day for a daily living. need money for that. So how, your family is going to get that? Let's say there is an education loan out there, how you are going to pay for it? And debt, like a credit card loan or car loan, etc. So mortgage is the biggest balance, right? So you want to make sure all these expenses, right? Kids education, anything listed, everything is taken care of by something else. So you don't want to, tap into your any kind of like a 401k or any kind of existing savings, right? So you want to make sure that you get enough protection, basically, so that if any case of unexpected happen, even the person is not there, passes away, or if some critical chronic illness that happens, right? So in that case, so some of the things can be easily taken care of from the life insurance, I would say. Okay. So when it comes to life insurance, how do you transfer that risk, right? So you can get a life insurance. So when it comes to life insurance, there are like only two different type of life insurance, I would say. The first one is the term insurance. You can get anywhere between like a 10 years to 35 years. So it depends on the age, right? Or permanent insurance. Permanent insurance is a lifelong. So it will cover you as long as you live. Okay. So basically what you are doing is you are transferring your financial responsibility to a company, another company. Okay. So that in case of any unexpected event, so they will be able to assist the family. So basically it's a contract between you and the insurance company. Okay. As I mentioned, the term insurance, you can take anywhere between 10 to 35 years, depends on the age. So basically the insurance company will assess your risk. Based on that, you can get in coverage. So in most cases, the medical exam is needed. So for example, if you are taking life insurance to the employer, there is no medical exam, right? But if you are going outside, yes, there is a medical exam needed, but some cases they may not be needed. So I will just go through why what are the things you don't need the medical exam. Okay. And when it comes to term insurance, there is no cash value or anything except the return of premium policies, right? Let's say you are paying $100, you are taking like $1 million coverage for 30 years. You are paying like $100 a month. So you'll be paying the same amount of money up to for 30 years. So at the end of the 30 years, pretty much it expires. So you don't get anything back. So there is another way you can get a return on a premium. So meaning, let's say you can say the insurance company before getting the policy, right? You can say, hey, I want to get 100% of money back. So I'm paying, let's say $100,000 for next 30 years, right? Total. I want to get all my 100,000 back. You can say that. Or you can choose, I want to get only like a 50,000 back. You can tell them. So based on that, so your premium will be more. Okay. And the level premium, meaning when it comes to term insurance, the premium will not change. So it will be pretty much the same. You will be paying the same premium during the duration of the time. And the next important thing is the living benefits, right? So if you had to ask me like 15, 20 years ago, the life insurance never had any kind of living benefits. So meaning, so anything that critical chronic happens, the company pays for the coverage, basically. So while living, they pay. Okay. And it's a guaranteed death benefit, right? So there are some exclusions. Other than that, pretty much any death anywhere in the world is covered, basically. But the only thing is the US doctor has to certify the death. Okay. So generally it's tax-free. When it comes to employer insurance, yes, there is some tax consequence. I will go over the detail. Okay. So here's at the high level, the insurance company limits, right? So if you are, let's say, most of us are between between 30 to 50 years of age. So you could qualify for maximum 20 times of your income. So meaning, let's say, if you are earning like $100,000 a year, so you could easily qualify for $2 million life insurance. Okay. So this is just a guidance, but again, it depends on the individual need. For example, let's say I have like a 2 rental property. I have mortgage of another $1 million. Yes, I'll be able to get an additional $1 million coverage for that. So based on the individual, the company calculates the risk. So I want to focus on that employer group insurance versus individual life insurance here, right? So I am sure everyone, most of the people out there, they think the insurance from the employer is good enough, right? So they may have, usually they during the annual enrollment period, actually it's coming up in the next October. So you may want to review that plan. So make sure that you have enough coverage, okay? So by default, most of the employer out there, they give like a 50K by default or one-time salary or two-time salary. In some employer may offer like, more than that, more life insurance coverage, basically. So if you have like $100,000 salary, then if you're the employer gives like 2 times, it's going to be $200,000 of, free life insurance coverage. So you can just easily sign up through that annual enrollment process, right? And there is no, medical exam or any questions, any healthcare questions or related, nothing. It's just a guaranteed coverage. You just sign up and it automatically deducted from your paycheck. Okay. And so what is the disadvantage, right? It's related to the work restriction, basically, right? So you have to be actively working in your employer. So let's say if you switch job, so you cannot really port that specific, basic term life insurance to another company, right? And so you have to start wherever you are going, you have to start a new coverage. And there could be a tax implications. Simply, since the employer is paying that premium, it is taxable as far as I know. But again, CPA will be able to provide a better guidance. Okay. So the next part is like a supplemental insurance. So we are all choose like in additional, the employer will offer like 5 times of salary or even sometimes 10 times of salary. So you have an option to choose from. So again, it's a very easy to sign up. So the premium automatically gets deducted from your paycheck month to month or once in 2 weeks, right? So there is no underwriting. So meaning there is no medical question or any like there could be medical questions actually, since it depends on the, now how many number of years you are getting to. So especially if you are above 50, they may order a medical exam actually. That again, that depends on the company. Not all companies do that. Yes, there is a possibility they may order a medical exam. Let's say if you are applying for like $1 million insurance through the company, there is a possibility they will order a medical exam. Okay. And the cost wise, it's low, it's much lower. If you do any comparison between the individual policy and the employer policy, it's always, very much lower, the employer policy. Okay. So when you look at that, what all the, cons we have, right? Again, it's related to your work. So if you have to be actively working. So if you happen to switch job, so you may or may not be portable. So even if you happen to port, it's going to be very expensive. The reason is the group coverage is always less, right? When you go out of the group coverage, all the discounts will be gone. So you'll be paying more, for life insurance. And so it may or may not be portable. This is something you have to check with the employer coverage. Right? And when it comes to the premium, right? So if you look at let's say you are choosing like a 2 times of coverage, your paycheck, your base pay, right? So every year, if you look at it, your premium is going to go up. So you may be paying like a $20 this year. So next year it could be like a $22 or $25, right? So every year your premium is going to keep go up. And so again, there is no like a extra addition like a coverage included. So meaning there could be many riders, right? Does it have a living benefits? Does it cover like a critical chronic illness? So employer insurance does not cover that. It's just a plain old like a death benefit. So in case of if you quit or get laid off or fired, so you may not get the same amount of coverage. Sometime your coverage completely drops out. And I just mentioned the living benefit. There is literally no living benefits in the employer, provided life insurance, unless you choose like a short-term disability and a long-term disability separately. Okay. So most people just choose by the number of times of the salary. And so you don't really think of how much insurance you need, right? You just choose. And there is no, formula or anything exercised basically. Okay. So when it comes to the individual life insurance, there are like a number of literally hundreds of companies in the US that are offering the life insurance, right? You can just go outside and purchase life insurance anywhere, right? So you can reach out an agent like me or any agent who can assist with your, need. Based on your need, they can tell you how much coverage you will need. Okay. So generally, if you are very healthy and your premium is going to be much lower. Okay. So when it comes to the life insurance outside of work, right, only two factor matters. The first one is the age, second one is the health. So the premium generally goes up every year, okay, as you age. So if you're healthy, you will be able to get a preferred plus, the top category. Let's say if you're healthy and your credit, you have a clean credit history and you do not have any DUI, right, etc. So you will obviously come into that top category. So based on the health and based on the age, the premium, the insurance company decides the premium. So no one has any control over it basically. Okay. The term is fixed. Basically, you can go from like a 10-year to 30-year term, depends on the age. For example, if you are 50, then you may qualify only 20-year term. You may not qualify for 30-year term. Okay. Based on the age, there is a calculation, the company will say, this is the number of years you could maximum qualify for. Okay. And when it comes to the portability, right, since it's not tied to the employer insurance, so you don't have to, worry about moving to a different job, right? So you can just quit one job and take another. It does not affect it completely. It's outside. And there is no work-related restrictions, basically, right? When it comes to employer insurance, there could be some fine prints. We may not be aware of that. So you may want to know what are those fine prints. Sometimes if the person died on a job, that insurance may not cover. Only the state worker compensation may cover. Okay. Again, this depends on the insurance, employer, basically. You may want to check on that. And if you have a insurance outside, there are you could add multiple riders basically. Okay, any critical, chronic, terminal, all sort of riders. Even you could add your child as part of your term insurance. So you can get a AD&D, extra additional coverage, things like that. Okay. So as I mentioned before, right? So you could choose just to pay that cost of insurance, or you want to get a premium refunded to you, right? 50% of 100%. You can pick and choose basically when applying the policy. Okay. So once the term is, let's say you are taking $1 million coverage for 20 years, you are paying $100 per month, right? At the end of the 20 years, the insurance company is going to return all your premium back. If you choose 50%, they will return 50%. Okay. So here you are not really losing anything actually, right? If something unexpected happened between the time, yes, you are going to get paid. I mean, your family is going to get benefited, right? So when it comes to the return of premium policy, right, the decision is instant. So what I meant to say is there is no medical exam basically. So based on your age and the health history, right, they will decide that premium. So you could just apply by yourself and get to know whether you qualified or not. Okay. And when it comes to the regular individual term insurance, it has to go through the full underwriting process. So you have to take the medical exam. The company will get the report. They'll review it. They will review all sort of other reports, like what medication you are taking, things like that. They will go through all that, and then they will assign a category. These are your premium. You qualify for this level. Okay. So as I mentioned, age and health is the most important factor. So the medical test, it can be done at your home actually. So the cost of the medical test is usually takes care of the insurance, so you don't have to really worry about it. Okay. The paramedic come to your home and they do the kind of physical exam basically. And once the lab results, everything is ready, they will send to the insurance company. So I talked about the term insurance. So here's the permanent insurance. So what is the major difference between the permanent insurance and the term insurance? Right? Term is like covering just a cost of our life. That's pretty much it. Think of like a car insurance or like a homeowners insurance, right? So you don't get back any money unless something happened. Yes, you get back money. But when it comes to permanent insurance, it has like many benefits. So permanent insurance has like a cash value component built to it. For example, let's say you are making like $1,000 payment every month, right? A certain portion will go to the cost of insurance, remaining will be the cash value. It will be growing over time. Okay. The premium is flexible, basically. So meaning that when it comes to term insurance, the premium is fixed, but here is not like that. The insurance company will give you a range, basically. There is a minimum and there is a maximum. You can pay between, let's say, $300 to $900, right? So what happens to the extra money you put in? It's going to grow post-tax. You have to pay for taxes for some of the growth, though. So generally, the cash values, there is an option you can get a tax-free income out of the life insurance cash value. Okay. I know tax is kind of a bit complicated subject, but yes, there is a way you can get a tax-free money from the insurance. So the company guarantees no loss to your principal and the growth, basically. Okay. And whatever the interest you earned. So what they do is they invest your money into the stock market index funds. So once in a year, they will credit. So that your principal and the growth is protected, basically. Meaning it never comes down. But that's not the case if you look at any other like investment vehicle, like let's say 401k, right? So what if there is a stock market correction comes up next month? It's going to take down your 401k value, correct? But the life insurance is not like that. So you can take like interest-free loans after 10 years. Within 10 years, there is a 1% interest. This is just only some companies do that. If you look at that, again, it depends on the companies actually. Some company charge like a 5%, some company charge like more than like 8%, things like that. Depends on the company. So in case of any unexpected happens, so the beneficiary gets that, let's say if you are getting like a $500,000 policy, right? And every month when you add premium, the value is going to go up, right? Let's say after 10 years down the road, the 500,000 policy may become 700,000 policy because the 200,000 is the cash value accumulated in the policy. If something unexpected happen, the beneficiary gets the $700,000 basically tax-free. Okay. And again, the money you are saving in that insurance plan is not, considered as like your investment basically. So when you apply for a college for your kids, so you don't have to show the money in the cash value bucket basically. Okay. So here is the simple formula how you can calculate what is then your need. Okay. So let's assume you have like you have a car loan of $25,000, right? And your income is $100,000. So the recommended is 10 times of your base pay. But again, this is based on your affordability. You can choose like a 15 times or 8 times. Okay. So even if you want to have like a 10 times of income replacement, that's going to be like $1 million, right? Let's say you have a mortgage of $325,000. So that's going to add up. And education, let's say you have one kid and it would cost, again, varies, it depends on the college, but bare minimum, you can get like a $150K. So here, what you need is like a $1.5 million of coverage, basically. This is kind of a worst case scenario, right? Something unexpected happened, the family is going to get that paid $1.5 million, completely tax-free. So that, you can family can take care of the education for the kids and the mortgage is paid off so that there is a money left for that, it replaces the income for next how many years you want. Okay. So you can ask like, how do I decide, right? How do I decide how much, how do I decide whether I want to get more coverage on the employer insurance or I want to get like, get a more coverage on the individual insurance. So when making a decision, just look at the pros and cons, basically. So what are the advantages of having a individual insurance outside? So you can decide based on that. Okay. So here's the fact. So if you look at the CDC website, right, heart disease is one of the leading cause of death. So regardless of basically the most ethnic group. So every 34 seconds, a person dies in the US. That's a lot of people, basically. Around 630,000 people dies in US. So if you look at that recent history in 2022, about 697,000 people basically died. That's 1 in 5 death. So this is the most leading cause of the death in US. So most people insure their homes, cars, smartphones, and all kind of insurance, but very few people have enough life insurance to protect themselves. Okay. So once the critical illness hits, right, what happens is they may not be able to get a life insurance. Actually, the company will decline it. Okay, it's very difficult to get insurance. Actually, any critical illness happens. So even one of the common thing I noticed is the A1C level. Actually, pre-diabetics, right? So we don't know when that diabetic. Some people get it. Some people depends on the heredity. So the insurance companies, they have a limit actually. If if the limit is over the limit, whatever that over, then they will decline the coverage, basically. So yeah, when it comes to how they are going to decide, there are many factors, right? Blood pressure, cholesterol, a A1C, that's a pre-diabetics level, and what are the medication you are taking currently, what medication you have taken before, and what are have you had any surgery before? They're a medical, all that factors are they will consider. They will pull all that history, basically. Okay, there are companies out there, the insurance company, they use the third-party companies to get the data. They can get all the data from that, wherever you made a visits, could be the hospital or doctor office or the prescription database. They will pull all the information and find it, basically. Okay. So here is at a high level. Here's so when it comes to the employer insurance, it's very easy to sign up, and you can be less healthy. You don't have to worry about any health criteria at all. So when it comes to the individual insurance, so you will get a best price if you are healthy. Okay, and the premium is going to be the same for the number of terms you choose. It's not like employer insurance. Employer insurance, as I mentioned before, right? Every year the premium is going to go up. Even it's $1 or more, it keep going up. There's no going down, right? And portable, meaning you don't have to worry about switching a job, basically, right? There is no work-related restriction, and multiple options, features is available if you happen to take insurance outside. But those features and options is not available in the employer insurance. Okay. So what I can do is we can take maybe a break and answer any questions on the life insurance side. I will quickly cover that, the college and retirement planning.
Thank you, Chandru sir. ரொம்ப அழகா சொன்னீங்க. நம்ம வாங்குற பொருளுக்கெல்லாம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் வைக்கிறோம், ஆனா லைஃபுக்கு லைஃப் இன்சூர் பண்ண மறந்துட்டோம் அப்படின்னு. சோ அடுத்த செஷன் நம்ம காலேஜ் அண்ட் ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பிளானிங் செஷனுக்கு போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஆடியன்ஸ் யாருக்காவது கொஸ்டின் இருந்ததுன்னா இந்த சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல ப்ளீஸ் டைரக்ட் பண்ணுங்க உங்களோட கொஸ்டின்ஸ். அண்ட் நாங்க இந்த ஓபன் ஃபோரம்ல வில் பிரிங் அப் தோஸ் கொஸ்டின்ஸ். யாருக்காவது ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின் இருந்ததுன்னா ஜூம் சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல உங்களோட கொஸ்டின்ஸை போஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம்.
கொஸ்டின் சாட் பாக்ஸ்ல மட்டும் தான் பண்ணுமா இல்ல நம்ம கொஸ்டின் டைரக்டா கேட்கலாமா?
இல்ல கேளுங்க ராஜா, no problem.
Right, yeah, please. Okay, cool. First question வந்து you did mention about tax free into ரெண்டு மூணு வாட்டி you have used that term.
Correct.
So what do you really mean by tax free? Is it நம்ம premium கட்டுறதுல tax free-யா இல்ல when you get paid அதுல tax free-யா? What does that really mean?
Okay, so when it comes to tax, Raja, நீங்க premium வந்து post tax money தான் போடுவீங்க அதுல.
Okay.
ஓகேங்களா? ப்ரீ டாக்ஸ் கிடையாது, போஸ்ட் டாக்ஸ் மணி தான் நீங்க பிரீமியம் பே பண்ணுவீங்க. பே பண்றதுனால டெத் பெனிஃபிட் இஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்லி டாக்ஸ் ஃப்ரீ. For example, a person has like a $1 million insurance.
Right.
If he passes away, that the family gets paid $1 million.
And there is no loaded on the tax side.
Correct. There is no tax actually. Death benefit is not taxable.
Okay.
So that's the one thing. And when it comes to employer insurance, let's say நீங்க வந்து உங்களுக்கு employer insurance இருக்கு. Depends on you may have chosen like a times of salary. So on the situation, there could be some tax implication, I would say.
Right. Got it. Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So next one, you're talking about restrictions. For example, restrictions one there. What if, I'm just throwing out this, if I am a diver, right? Snorkeling, not just snorkeling, just a deep sea diving, illana mountain climbing, அந்த மாதிரி இருந்தனா, should I disclose it or am I required to disclose?
Yes, you are required to disclose. நீங்க application fill பண்ணும்போது, that's one of the question actually. That's the first question that comes up.
So
a risky hobby, do you have any risky hobbies, right? So based on that, they will give the coverage or decline it.
Oh, they can decline. Yes, they can also.
Correct. Because depends on, I don't know, depends on how often நீங்க எவ்வளவு often பண்றீங்க அப்படிங்கறத பொறுத்து இருக்கு.
Right.
So what if,
yeah, sorry, go ahead. முடிச்சிரு.
Let's say நீங்க வந்து disclose பண்ணல அப்படின்னு வெச்சீங்க. Let's say நீங்க disclose பண்ணல, but some mountain climbing accident, something happened அப்படின்னா அந்த மாதிரி situationல they may decline the coverage basically.
Right.
Decline the
so for example, இன்னைக்கு I'm not a deep sea diver or either snorkeling or whatever it is. இன்னைக்கு இல்லன்னு வெச்சுக்கங்க.
Okay.
I take this case. 10 years down the lane, I get an opportunity to do that. Okay. What are the consequences?
Okay, there is no consequence. அந்த situationல நீங்க வந்து இன்சூரன்ஸ் அப்ளிகேஷன் சப்மிட் பண்ணும்போது you didn't have such a intention or like a hobby, right?
Right.
So that comes in future, so that doesn't count actually.
How do they validate whether I was or will be? Who gets to judge that?
Well, that's insurance company actually. Insurance company, they have the claim department. They will get all the detail, from wherever the source is. So right. The only thing on the pathina are not covered now. First 2 years suicide is not covered.
Of course.
Let's say the person is getting life insurance and he dies by suicide in 1 year, right? It's not covered.
Okay.
So anything other than suicide after 2 years, it's covered.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of tricky. Yeah.
Chandru, to add to that, இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ மறந்து போய் டிஸ்க்ளோஸ் பண்ணலன்னு வைங்களேன், some இப்போ அதுக்கு எதுவும் டைம் லிமிட் இருக்கா? அதான் சொன்னீங்களா 2 years வரைக்கும் எதனாச்சும் நடந்ததுன்னா அவங்க நமக்கு பெனிஃபிட் பே பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. பட் 2 yearsக்கு அப்புறம் இப்போ இந்த ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் இவர் ராஜ் சார் கேட்டார் இல்லைங்களா, ஒரு ரிஸ்கி ஹேபிட் இருக்கு, நம்ம ஃப்ளைட்டா தான் பண்றோம், அதை டிஸ்க்ளோஸ் பண்ணல, ஒரு 2 ஆஃப்டர் 5 yearsக்கு அப்புறம் நம்ம அதை போய் பண்றப்போ ஒரு இன்சிடென்ட் நமக்கு நடக்குதுன்னா அது எதனாச்சும் டைம் லிமிட் இருக்கா? பிகாஸ் தே கேனாட் கீப் சேயிங், ஓ we had a case, we found you did this activity, அந்த மாதிரி, அதனால உங்களுக்கு பணம் கொடுக்க மாட்டோம்.
இல்ல அந்த மாதிரி, yeah, there is no such thing actually. பாத்தீங்கன்னா
டைம் லிமிட்டே கிடையாது.
தமிழ்ல எப்ப வேணாலும் கரெக்ட். இப்போ அப்ளிகேஷன்லயே பாத்தீங்கன்னா all they have yes or no questions தான்.
ஓகே.
You have to choose either yes or no. If yes கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க வந்து detailed description கொடுக்கணும். So what exactly you are doing அப்படிங்கிறது.
But at the same time, if you knowingly or unknowingly you try to hide something, that will come and bite you in the back.
Yes.
Later stage. அது வந்து இன்னைக்கு வந்து I'm not a diver or snorkeling or whatever நீங்க சொல்லிட்டு, and you happen to do that after 5 years, but if they have some records going back that you have traveled somewhere and you did something like that, then obviously there is possibility of negligence, intentional negligence. They will try to avoid it. But anyway, thank you, Chandru.
Sure. Yeah,
thanks for the information. Really appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that very valuable question and ரொம்ப நல்ல எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷனும் இருந்தது சந்துரு சார். இன்னும் ஒரு கொஸ்டின் வந்திருக்கு ஒரு வியூவர் கிட்ட இருந்து. நீங்க வந்து நம்ம எம்ப்ளாயர் வர்சஸ் இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்சூரன்ஸ் பத்தி பேசிக்கிட்டு இருந்தோம் இல்லையா? சோ நீங்க அதுல மென்ஷன் பண்ணீங்க கம்பெனி டு கம்பெனி சேஞ்ச் பண்றதுக்கும் இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்கிறதுக்கும் வாட் இஸ் த டிஃபரன்ஸ்? ஐ மீன் எம்ப்ளாயர் versus இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்சூரன்ஸ்ல வந்து எம்ப்ளாயர் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருந்தா கம்பெனி டு கம்பெனி சேஞ்ச் பண்ணும்போது அதுல ஏதோ டிஸ்அட்வான்டேஜ் வர மாதிரி you mentioned. அது கொஞ்சம் elaborate பண்ண முடியுமா?
Sure. So company insurance la pathina we are all comes under the group insurance, right? Group insurance on the premium always lower. So what happens is let's say I'm working for one company and quitting my job going to a different company. So on the situation la ennoda whatever the insurance I have that may not be portable basically. So அந்த இன்சூரன்ஸ் நியூ கம்பெனி என்ன இன்சூரன்ஸ் கொடுக்கலாம் அதுதான் வந்து we need to get it. Let's say நீங்க வந்து let's say you have a $1 million coverage நீங்க வாங்கி இருக்கீங்க. So generally companies என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா they will offer a insurance through a third party இல்லீங்களா? So அது அப்ப வந்து it could be part of the group insurance. நீங்க outside அந்த போர்ட் பண்ணும்போது it could be more expensive. So it may be possible but it will be expensive.
Okay.
There is a possibility cost will go up.
Nice. Thank you sir.
Sure.
வேற யாராவது ஏதாவது क्वेश्चंस இருந்தாலும் chat boxல போஸ்ட் பண்ணலாம் இல்ல டைரக்டா கேக்குறதாலும் ப்ளீஸ்.
சந்தர் சார் எனக்கு क्वेश्चन இருக்கு.
சொல்லுங்க சதீஷ்.
இப்போ நீங்க சொன்னீங்க அது இப்போ எம்ப்ளாயர் எங்க வர்க் பண்ணாலும் அங்க குரூப் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இருக்கு. அது இல்லாம நம்ம தனியா இப்போ 40ஸ்ல இருந்தா நம்ம தனி இன்சூரன்ஸ் வச்சுக்கிறது எனக்கு தான் நல்லதுதான் இல்லையா? அதுதான் நீங்க சொல்ல வரீங்க அந்த பாயிண்ட்ல. ஸோ எம்ப்ளாயர் மூவ் பண்ணாலும் நாளைக்கு ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் ஆகிற வரைக்கும் இந்த தனி இன்சூரன்ஸ் வந்து தனியா அப்படியே போயிட்டு இருக்கும் இல்லைங்களா? அதுதான் அந்த கவரேஜுக்கு நல்லதுன்றீங்க.
கரெக்ட்.
ரெண்டாவது கொஸ்டின், தேங்க்ஸ் சந்துரு. ரெண்டாவது கொஸ்டின் வந்து வில்லு எந்த அளவுக்கு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இங்க யூஎஸ்ல வாழற நம்மள மாதிரி இந்தியன்ஸ்க்கு? ஃபேமிலி நெக்ஸ்ட் இமிடியட் ஃபேமிலி இங்க இல்லை, மோஸ்ட்லி ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் தான். இப்போ நம்ம அசெட்லாம் இங்கே தான் இருக்கு, எல்லா கவரேஜும் இருக்கு. இருந்தாலும் நம்மளோட குழந்தைங்களுக்கு நாளைக்கு எப்படி அது கவர்மெண்ட் எப்படி செட்டில் பண்ணும் இன்கேஸ் எனி ரிஸ்க் ஆச்சுன்னா? அதை பத்தி நீங்க வச்சிருக்கீங்களா அஜெண்டா இன்னைக்கு?
ஆக்சுவலா வில் அண்ட் ட்ரஸ்ட் செஷன் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பண்ணிருக்கேன். அது வந்து தமிழ் கலர் அசோசியேஷன் அந்த சைட்ல யூடியூப் சேனல்ல இருக்கு. உங்களுக்கு மேபி அந்த வீடியோ I can send you the link. உங்களோட இமெயில் ஐடி கொடுங்க. I can send you that link or
இந்த chatலயே நான் இப்போ இன்னொரு 5 minutesல அந்த லிங்க் ப்ரொவைட் பண்றேன். சந்துரு தான்
சேனல்லையும் அப்டேட்டா நம்ம யூடியூபோட சேனல்லையும் இருக்கு சதீஷ் சார். நீங்க டைரக்டா கூட அங்க போய் பாத்துக்கலாம். வில் அண்ட் ட்ரஸ்ட்னு தனியா ஒரு செஷனே நடந்துருக்கு.
ஓகேங்க, ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ்.
Sure.
So இன்னொரு क्वेश्चन சந்துரு சார், உங்களுக்கு இன்சூரன்ஸ் அப்படின்னாலே வந்து நம்ம ஜெனரலி ஏதாவது ஒரு எனி ஸ்பெசிபிக் ஏஜ் குரூப்ல இருக்கிறவங்க, அதாவது இந்த 30 to 35 இருக்கிறவங்க ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணினா பெட்டர் அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது இருக்கா, இல்ல is it age specific?
Okay, so insurance பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் there is no age restriction. Even just born baby you can get a life insurance. ஓகேங்களா? So biggest difference is the younger the person is, the premium is going to be lower.
Okay.
So generally பாத்தீங்கன்னா up to once they are up to they become adult, they can get only kids எல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா they get only permanent insurance. இப்போ அவங்களுக்குலாம் இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் 15-year கேர்ளுக்கு there is no term insurance. அவங்களாம் வந்து they can get only permanent insurance, right? So the premium will be lot more. So அந்த மாதிரி கிட்ஸுக்கு வந்து younger ஏஜ்ல இன்சூரன்ஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணீங்க அப்படின்னா so it will be like a savings for them basically. So அவங்க வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணும்போது you can just transfer the policy ownership basically அவங்களோட நேம்ல, so that they have the responsibility to pay that premium.
Okay,
there's a big difference. 10 years old insurance எடுக்கிறதுக்கும் like once the kid become like 20 year or 30 years அப்ப எடுக்கிறதும் there is a major difference in the premium.
I have one more quick question. About the screening. So if you're going with a private insurance like you folks, right? Appo vande screening ku vande who pays for the screening?
Okay, the insurance company pays for the screening.
Okay.
What would it cost you anything?
Okay. On a side note, what if, for whatever reason, it happens to be not conducive for the insurance company? It is not worthwhile to go forward. So what happens in those cases?
So what happens is now they will there are many ratings actually when it comes to insurance. Okay. For example, the top category is a preferred plus.
Right.
Next is a preferred. Next is a standard plus, substandard. There are like many categories.
So they drop you accordingly.
Exactly. For example, let's say you are perfectly healthy abdina, yes, there is a possibility the preferred plus la varlam.
Right.
The premium could be like let's say $100 or for $1 million coverage abdina. So இதே வந்து preferred plus let's say you are taking some medication, you have some blood pressure or cholesterol. I know you don't, but just for argument I'm saying.
Yeah. Some baggage.
What happens is they will put you in a different, like a standard category. Your premium could be $250.
Okay.
Right?
I got the point. But is there a cutoff for the medical screening? For example, $100,000 now, they might not. $500,000 now, they will. I mean, like the slab any insurance you're going to take will have to go through medical screening.
Okay, so depends on the company, I would say. Okay, so when it comes to kids insurance, there is no medical needed basically, 17 and under.
Right.
Okay, if it's an adult, if you are a US citizen or green card holder, yes, you can bypass the medical. There is a non-medical, they can give you up to maximum $2 million of coverage.
Seriously? Okay.
Right. So if you are
but for what age? For what age?
Let's say it doesn't matter. It could be like a 40 or 50. Age doesn't matter. If you are a US citizen or green card holder, yes,
right,
you can get a coverage without going to the medical. But that not necessarily, they won't order medical. If they find something in that medical report, right? There is a possibility they will order medical.
Yes, got it. If you don't mind, which insurance are you representing? Or do you represent many more?
Sure, I represent many companies. I represent AAG, F&G, North American, Nationwide, Americo. So we have like a list of providers actually. Okay. So I have an agent contract with them.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
சந்திரு, இன்னொரு கொஸ்டின் உங்களோட செஷன்ல இருந்து. இப்போ நீங்க எம்ப்ளாயர் இன்சூரன்ஸும் நம்ம ஓனா எடுக்கிற இன்சூரன்ஸும் ஒரு டிஃபரன்ஸ் சொன்னீங்க. இது நோ லிவிங் பெனிஃபிட்ஸ்னு. கரெக்ட். இந்த கிரானிக் இல்னஸ், கிரிட்டிக்கல் இல்னஸ்லாம் இருந்தா எம்ப்ளாயர் இன்சூரன்ஸ்ல தரமாட்டாங்க. பட் இதுல பிரைவேட்டா நம்ம எடுத்திருந்தோம்னா அது அவைலபிள் அப்படின்னா அது கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்றீங்களா? அது எப்படி?
Sure, Radha.
இன்னொரு எக்ஸாம்பிள்.
Sure. So one of the most important part of the life insurance is the living benefit, right? So when you are gone, you're not going to see that money, but again, family will be seeing the money. But while living, we should all get paid, right? So living benefits, now what they mean is, they mean like a 3 different type of living benefits. Like the first one is a critical illness. Critical illness meaning like a heart attack or cancer or any renal failure, like a major accident. So anything that critical, right? If something critical happens, what the insurance company does is they get the medical report from the hospital or the doctor office. So based on the severity, they make a lump sum payment. Okay. Let's say the person had a major heart attack and going through the open heart surgery, right? The company may pay like a 200,000 or 300,000 for $1 million policy. It's a lump sum payment, one-time payment. Okay. Let's say after once they made the payment, let's say they made like $250,000 out of the $1 million coverage, the coverage drops down to $750K. Okay. After a few years, the same person suffers a different kind of critical illness, right? Again, they make another one-time payment. Okay. So they will pay up to the policy. Like mostly it could be 90% or again, depends on the career. Every career is different. Okay. Some career they pay 90%, some career they pay 24%. Some career they limit, 250,000. Again, it depends on the career. Actually, this is not a set in stone. Okay.
Okay.
Chronic illness next. Okay. When it comes to chronic illness, what that means is if the person is not able to perform 2 out of 6 daily living activities, basically like confined to a wheelchair, he or she need an assistance basically. So on the situation, if it goes for like several months, so on the situation, the insurance company will evaluate the person and get all the medical reports. They will make a lump sum payment.
Okay.
So over 1 year.
Okay.
Some illness, I got some illness, work panna mudiyala abdina, yes, I can file a claim and get that benefit out of it.
Okay.
The third thing is
add pannungala illa company over
by default. I mean, all the career I support, I mean, I have agent contract, it's all comes at default. It's not an additional at all.
Okay.
So the third thing is a terminal illness. Terminal illness now is like a end stage. Let's say the doctor says the person has only like 24 months to live. So only Florida they consider 12 months to live. So on the situation, the insurance company pays the policy maximum while living.
Okay.
So again, it depends on the career. Some career, they have a restriction, right? They may pay like a 24% or 50%. I don't know. Depends on the career you choose. The cover, they will pay the coverage. So these are the 3 important living benefits the life insurance should have. But most of the life insurance out there, it always comes with the terminal illness, kind of a end stage, correct? That's a common, but you won't see that a critical chronic illness coverage unless you know which provider gives that coverage.
Okay.
So this is one of the most important. While doing your research, talk to your financial service professional and get a better understanding about that company, and you can, pick and choose.
Thank you, Chandru. Very good information.
So one more, Chandru, I did hear you mention that Florida, there is a different terminal illness or duration. I mean, is it only for Florida or across the country, everything is same?
Correct. Except the Florida. Except Florida, doctor has to certify the person has only 12 months to live.
Okay. Then only you'll be eligible for terminal.
Exactly, for the terminal illness coverage.
Payment.
Other than Florida, all other states has 24 months.
But how about the premium itself? Does it vary depending on the states?
No, Raj. Premium is same.
Across the board, right?
Across everywhere is premium same.
Okay. Thank you.
Even if you are moving, let's say you are getting insurance in Colorado,
right.
Now you are living in Denver, right. And moving to Texas, still you're covered. Doesn't matter wherever you move. Even if you are moving out of country, right? The only thing is the US doctor has to certify.
How would that happen if somebody goes across overseas and for whatever reason he moves on, he or she, right? I mean, what would be the criteria for a US doctors to certify, or a certified doctor in that place from the US government, avanga certify pannuma? For example, like India, there are only certain places like Apollo, right? Chennai. So Apollo only can give you a medical certificate for people who are coming here, whatever, you know what I'm talking, right? And the Madri, it has to be certified by a certified professional of the US consulate or whatever, right? Is that the criteria?
So the criteria is, as far as I know, the doctor has to be in US, first of all. It cannot
even
be
if somebody dies overseas.
Correct. So yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to gather all the information like a death certificate and everything, and you can get a certification from the US doctor.
Okay. I got it. So angarande ninga kondu vande, you need to prove that it is he or she is dead, and it has to be approved by a local US doctor. Okay, got it.
வேற யாராவது questions இருக்கா?
பிரசாந்தி, நான் chatல போட்டிருந்தேன். question கேக்குறீங்களா இல்ல நான் கேக்கட்டுமா?
நீங்களே கேட்கலாம்.
Chandru, இந்தியால எல்லாம் எல்ஐசி இன்சூரன்ஸ் பாலிசி இருக்குல்ல, ஸோ இஸ் இட் இங்க இருக்கிற இப்ப நீங்க ப்ரொவைட் பண்ற இன்சூரன்ஸ் இஸ் இட் சேம் அஸ் the எல்ஐசி பாலிசி we get from India? Is it kind of same?
Yeah, it's a different, but the concept is same, but it works different actually here.
Okay.
India LIC policy, no, I don't think they have all the living benefits, long-term benefits. I don't think they have all that.
ஓகே. ஏன்னா நாங்க இந்தியா டிராவல் பண்றப்ப ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாங்கல்ல, அவங்க எல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்ணுவாங்க. பட் அதான் இது அட்வைசபிளா அவங்களுக்காக எடுக்கிறதுக்காக அது அட்வைசபிளா அங்க இந்தியால இருக்கிறது?
So எடுக்கலாம், நீங்க எடுக்கலாம், பட் வந்து இங்க எடுக்கிறது இட்ஸ் லைக் I would say the premium will be lower. Especially term insurance பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்தியாவுல 3 times more. If you believe it or not, even you can log into like a HDFC or one of that insurance banking website and just do the cost compare.
Yeah, okay.
India premium is more compared to.
எனக்கு இப்ப எல்லாம் போனேன்னா ஒவ்வொரு பேங்க்ல ஐசிஐசி பேங்க்ல எல்லாத்துலயும் அவங்க மார்க்கெட்டிங் பண்றாங்க, லைக் சஜஸ்ட் பண்றாங்க அவங்களோட எல்ஐசி பாலிசி எடுத்துக்க சொல்லி.
Correct. I would say, go for either one, but getting insurance is more better alternative, I would suggest.
Okay. Thank you, Chandru.
But that's still valid, Chandru. இங்க இருக்க குழந்தைங்களுக்கு அங்க இந்தியா எல்ஐசி இன்சூரன்ஸ், டர்ம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் எடுக்கிறது வேலிடா? அங்க மெச்சூரிட்டி ஆகும்போது அதை வந்து அந்த பெனிஃபிட் இங்க கொண்டு வர முடியுமா? ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் 20 years பிளான் போடுறாங்க இங்க இருக்க குழந்தைங்களுக்கு, அந்த காசு 20 years கழிச்சு அதை வந்து இவங்களோட எஜுகேஷன் பர்பஸ்க்கு அதை யூஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா இங்க இருந்து வந்து? இல்ல அதுல எதனா லீகல் இஷ்யூஸ் இருக்கா?
This is something maybe the CPA will be able to guide you, Sudesh.
Okay.
Bringing the money from India is completely, that's a different out of my scope.
இல்ல அந்த கவரேஜ் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியுமா? இல்ல அட்லீஸ்ட் அந்த அது வேலிட் பெனிஃபிட்டுங்களா? நீங்க
பெனிஃபிட் வேலிட் தான், பட் வந்து how you are able to bring moneyங்கிறது that's another area இல்லையா?
Okay.
You have to find the right way to bring it back.
Thanks, Chandru.
Okay, thank you so much. எல்லாரும் questions ரொம்ப நல்ல questions இருந்தது. Thank you, Chandru sir. ரொம்ப நிறைய நல்ல செஷனை விட நிறைய இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் இதுல இருந்து கிடைச்ச மாதிரி இருந்தது. So யாருக்கும் next set of questions இல்லைன்னா we can move on to the next session about retirement.
Okay. So next, so I will quickly talk about like retirement planning and college planning. So I don't have much information to share, but it's a pretty big topic actually. We need at least another hour to go through the detail. But I can give you some like a basic information. So let me start sharing my screen. Okay. So generally, so everyone has a different investment, choose a different investment vehicle, right? So what you have here is basically is like a stock market index. So here the red line is a stock market index. Okay. Let's say if you happen to invest like $100,000 back in 97. Okay. I'm sure most of you are aware of, we had a stock market correction, back in 2001, 2002. And even one we had like a 2008 to 2009, right? Most of the 401k like other investments got wiped out. That's tied to the stock market. Okay, and then since then it's going to keep going up, but we had a correction. I think that was last 2020 we had a correction, right, when the COVID hits. Now it's kind of a upward trend. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, let's say your 100,000 is going to become 93,000 in 2002. Right, then it's keep going up, and then in 2009 it became 109. Then it's keeping going up. Okay, so the green line, basically this is the indexed contract. Okay, think of an indexed contract as another investment vehicle. You are saving for your retirement, you are savings for your college. Okay, so the money you invest here will never go down basically. So let's say you put $100,000. So whenever there is a stock market correction between like a 2000 and 2002, your principal and the growth is going to be protected basically. Okay, so you are not going to lose any money out of it. Okay. So in stock market, you may get probably 10% or 15%, even much higher. So it depends on which stocks you invest, right? So here, if you happen to invest in the indexed contract, so you may not get all that 10-15%, but you may get like probably like anywhere between 5 to 8%. It's much lower, but consistently over the period of time, it's going to outperform. Okay. So one of the common investment is like a 401k, right? So we are all investing in the 401k. So the suggestion is, so whatever money you are putting in the 401k should be able to match with the employer. Some employer match like a 3%, some employer match like a 5% or a little more. So you can put that amount. Remaining, you can diversify basically. You can find another investment vehicle so you don't lose your principal and growth. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, because let's think about it, right? So you are retiring in, let's say, 2040, right, or 2050, whatever that year may be, when there is a huge correction in the stock market. So what's going to happen to your 401k? Just think about it. Okay, it's going to take a major hit. Don't you agree? Right? So you will lose. I mean, it will come back, but do you have enough time, wait to come back? It may take 2 years, it may take 3 years. So you don't know how many years it's going to take. Okay. So at the same time, if you happen to invest in any of the indexed contract, so you are protected, right? So during the retirement age, even that stock market crash or any major correction happens, you don't have to worry about your money sitting in that retirement account. Okay. So here's the example actually. This is like 2 years back, when the COVID hits. So even it could happen. So even we see like every month it goes up, goes down. It kind of a roller coaster, right? Stock market. So when it comes to your investment, right? Investment or money. So what is your normal, general, where do you want to save, right? So you put in a banks. So banks, you may get like probably less than a percentage of interest. You don't get back much, but it's very safe, right? You can put some mutual funds, or you may have some CDs or stocks. So all the money you put in this bucket is like after tax, right? So you have to pay taxes at the end of the year. Okay, and let's look at the tax deferred bucket, right? So all your employer sponsored plan like IRA, 403B, 401k, annuity, everything comes under here. So these are just for information. Some of you may know everything. So you are putting basically the before tax dollars. So the money you are putting is not taxable now, but it's going to get taxed, when you retire, when you take a distribution out of it. Okay, and if you happen to withdraw money, there is going to be a penalty, right? 10%. Let's say you are like a 50 and you want to withdraw some money, there's going to be a penalty, 10% penalty the IRS imposes. So if you happen to withdraw 15 and above 15 and a half, yes, there is no penalty. And everything is taxed at distribution. You have to pay taxes, whether it's a 401k or whatever the IRA account you may have, you have to pay taxes. And there is a contribution limit, right? So for 401k, there is a 19,500. Even the Roth IRA, there could be some contribution limit. Every retirement account has some contribution limit. And when you happen to withdraw like a large portion of money during the retirement age, your Social Security will be taxed. Even there is some calculator in the Social Security website that can give you a better picture. Okay. And do you guys know about RMD? What does RMD mean? So basically that's a required minimum distribution. It used to be like a 70, now it's like a 72. At the age of 72, you have to withdraw certain portion of money from your retirement account. They will tell you, the IRS is going to tell you, this is that minimum amount you must withdraw. What happens if you don't withdraw, right? There's going to be a penalty. If you look at that penalty, there's a 50% penalty on that money that's not withdrawn. let's say you're supposed to withdraw $1,000, but you withdrawn only $500, right? That your remaining $500 is going to get taxed at 50%. You are going to lose $250. Okay. And again, it's included estate. So meaning when the person passes away, still that money is taxable. Okay, that's the point I want to make. So the third bucket here is the tax-free bucket. Some of you may not aware of what this tax-free bucket is, but I can talk about that, right? So the money you put in this bucket is after tax dollars, right? You pay taxes and put that money here. And you can withdraw anytime as long as there is enough cash in that account, right? There is no IRS penalty or there is no age restriction. And the growth is 100% tax-free. So you don't have to pay taxes. But that's not the case in the 401k and the other retirement accounts, right? So you have to pay taxes on that, the growth. And there is a contribution limit. So meaning the contribution limit is extremely high, right? You will be able to put as much as you want, basically. And so it does not affect the social security. Okay. And there is no minimum distribution, and it's not considered as part of your estate or your, child college education loan application, basically, whatever money you put in. And during the retirement years or before, you can get a tax-free income. Okay. So anyway, I don't have that remaining slides actually, because that's going to take a lot more time. So basically what this tax-free bucket is that there are like many, you may already know Roth IRA, right? Roth IRA is not, you are putting like after tax dollars. So during the retirement years, you can withdraw tax-free. And there are some municipal bonds basically that comes under the category. And this one is cash value life insurance. So if you put the money in that bucket, so you will be able to utilize all these features basically. So that can be used as a retirement vehicle as well as your college planning. So the biggest advantages of comparing with other retirement account is, so it has like the life insurance or the death benefit. If the person is not there or passes away unexpectedly, the company is going to pay their family, right? At the same time, you have all these advantages. Okay, so probably in the next sessions, I will go over much detail. So how you can, utilize this kind of plan. The another point I want to make is you can diversify your investment, right? So instead of putting everything in one bucket, basically. I know 529 is a very common plan for the college savings. That's a very awesome plan. So you may want to look into, start yearly actually. Start the earlier you start the savings is going to be more advantageous for you. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it I want to cover. Unless you have any specific questions, definitely I can answer.
Thank you, Chandru sir. Now in the session start பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி we had some questions that came in. And because you left with 529 as the last note, what is 529க்கும் இப்ப நம்ம earlier வந்து இன்சூரன்ஸ் பத்தி பேசினோம், அந்த நிறைய மத்த இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ் பத்தி பேசினோம் இல்லையா? So 529க்கும் அந்த இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட்ஸ்க்கும் இருக்கிற பேசிக் டிஃபரன்ஸ் என்ன?
Okay.
What would be the most efficient college fund?
So 529 is basically like a state sponsored plan. There are many plans is available, right? So when it comes to 529, again, the money gets invested into stock market. That's the most important thing everyone need to understand. Okay. So there is a possibility the value is going to go down. It could be 100,000 today. I don't know it's going to be 101,000 tomorrow. It could be like a 90,000, right? So since it's tied to stock market, yes, there is a potential, you could lose money in the stock 529 plan. And the second thing is there could be some, fees associated with the 529, right? That depends on the plan. Okay. Since it's just that, educational plan, you cannot use that money somewhere else, right? So if you want to take that 529 money used to somewhere else, yes, you have to pay the penalty. That penalty is supposed to be the plan administrator. Okay. And there is no like, death benefit or living benefit, all those kind of things built into the 5 to 9 actually. It's just like a simple college planning, you are saving for our kid. When the kids goes to college, yes, you can use that money. Even if you are sibling, yes, you will be able to use that money, but you cannot use that money for anything else. So when your kid go to the college, right, you have to, let's say you are applying for a scholarship, you have to mention how much money you have in the 5 to 9. At the same time, if you have a good amount of cash value insurance money, you do not show not even a single dollar in the application. So those are the major difference, but there are many more actually. So I do have like other slides, but I can cover in my next session.
So how early do we need to basically start with the college planning? If it's a 529, அதாவது குழந்தை பிறந்து உடனே நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணுமா, இல்ல வந்து கிண்டர் கார்டன் சீட் மாதிரி குழந்தை பிறந்து உடனே நம்ம அப்ளை பண்ணணுமா, இல்ல வந்து அவங்க ஸ்கூல் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போது பண்ணணுமா? How does that work?
I mean, the simplest answer is the earlier is better. Even as soon as they're born, you can start applying. The number of years, right? The number of years, the later start panna, the number of years going to go down, right?
Okay.
Instead of 20 years saving, 10 years savings, there is a huge difference.
It's really good to know. Any question? Yeah, couple questions.
சந்திர, ஒரு குவிக் கொஸ்டின் தான். இந்த நீங்க அதை எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ற நீங்க நெக்ஸ்ட் செக்ஷன்ல இருந்தாலும் இந்த 529 பிளான் வந்து டைரக்டா ஸ்டாக்கோட லிங்கா இருக்கனால நம்ம எவ்வளவு இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்றோமோ காலேஜ் போறதுக்காட்டி பசங்களுக்கு அந்த அமௌண்ட்டோ அந்த வேல்யூ குறைஞ்சிருமா?
There is a possibility, right? There is a complete stock market crash or down marketல there is a potential நீங்க வந்து லூஸ் பண்ண வேண்டிய ஒரு மணி 529. So it's kind of a other plan, right? Like a 401k, it's all tied to a stock market. Even the Roth IRA, it's tied to a stock market. So any investment that's directly tied to a stock market has a risk potential.
Okay, thanks.
இந்த காலேஜுக்காண்டி வேற எது மாதிரி இன்வெஸ்ட்மெண்ட் எதுவும் இருக்குங்களா? இல்ல 529?
Right, college I just talked about, right? I mean, the life insurance cash value, it's another,
life insurance.
College. Correct. So idhula வந்து you can like put a max funding. There is a different level of premium you could pay basically. இதல பாத்தீங்கன்னா so எவ்வளவு premium pay பண்றோமோ அத பொறுத்து உங்களுக்கு வந்து investments like growth இருக்கும். Let's say நீங்க வந்து ஒரு 10 years or 15 years consistent premium pay பண்ணிட்டு வரீங்க. So once the kid go to the college or college is done, you can take that money and pay for college basically.
சந்திரு சார், இன்னும் ஒரு क्वेश्चन வந்து இது என்னோட பர்சனல் क्वेश्चन அப்படின்னு கூட வச்சுக்கலாம். இப்போ ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பிளான்ஸ் வந்து நிறைய பேர் நம்ம வந்து ரொம்ப சீரியஸா we don't take it very serious, especially இங்க I don't mean to say everybody, but at least என்ன மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் வந்து நாங்க அது சீரியஸா எடுக்கல. so retirement plans வந்து பெட்டரா, இல்ல வந்து நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி how diversified can our investments be? Definitely it depends upon the need, but எவ்வளவு diversified வைக்கலாம்? லைக் நம்மளோட how like 401k versus real estate அப்படின்னா வந்து எப்படி அதை diversified வைக்கிறது அப்படிங்கிறது.
So அதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணனும்னா we need to do like a needs analysis. இது வந்து based on the individual தான். ஏன்னா everyone's risk appetite is completely different. So yeah, I would suggest maybe I can help you. Like we can set up as a separate time. We can do the complete needs analysis and I can provide some suggestion.
Kandipa, sir.
There is no, hard and fast.
Hard and fast rule.
Correct.
There is no diamond. Basically the diamond analysis. Nice. Any more? வேற ஏதாவது questions இருக்கா? Anybody?
ராதா மியூட்ல இருக்கீங்க.
சரிங்க. நீங்க கவர் பண்ணல, இது இன்சூரன்ஸ் பத்தி ஒரு क्वेश्चन. ரிட்டர்ன் ஆஃப் பிரீமியம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருந்தீங்க.
கரெக்ட்
இல்லையா? அது டேர்ம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் இந்த பிரைவேட்டா நம்ம வாங்கினோம்னா ரிட்டர்ன் ஆஃப் பிரீமியம்னு ஒரு ஆப்ஷன் இருக்கிற மாதிரி சொன்னீங்க. அது அது எப்படி எல்லா பிரைவேட் இன்சூரன்ஸும் கொடுக்குறாங்களா? நம்ம பண்ற பிரீமியம்
இல்ல எல்லா இன்சூரன்ஸ்லயும் தர மாட்டாங்க. நாட் ஆல் கம்பெனி தராங்க. only certain companies வந்து தராங்க. But the company, one of the company I work with, they do that. Maximum coverage வந்து 450,000 தான் வாங்க முடியும்.
ஓகே. நம்ம எவ்வளவு மந்த்லி $100 பே பண்றோம் அந்த 450Kக்குன்னா நீங்க at the end of 10 years or 20 years அது கொடுத்துருவாங்க.
கரெக்ட்.
Even if the person is alive and
ஸ்டில் அலைவ்னா அதுல கேஷ் வேல்யூ இருக்கும். அதை நீங்க எவ்வளவு பிரீமியம் பே பண்ணிருக்கீங்களோ அதை கம்ப்ளீட்டா ரிட்டர்ன் பண்ணுவாங்க. நீங்க ஆனா சூஸ் பண்ணணும். நீங்க பாலிசி அப்ளை பண்ண உள்ள அப்ளிகேஷன் நீங்க எவ்வளவு 50% வேணுமா 100% வேணுமா அப்படின்னு. டிஃபரன்ஸ் என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா உங்களோட பிரீமியம். இப்ப
பிரீமியம் அதிகமா இருக்கும்.
சூஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா பிரீமியம் கம்மியா இருக்கும். இதே 100% சூஸ் பண்ணீங்கன்னா பிரீமியம் அதிகமா இருக்கும்.
ஓகே.
இட்ஸ் a good option, especially for the basically is for protecting the mortgage தான். ஜெனரலி பாத்தீங்கன்னா மார்கேஜ் வந்து எவ்ரிஒன் ஹஸ் லைக் அட்லீஸ்ட் 500K இல்லையா, 500K ஆர் லெஸ். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி சுச்சுவேஷன்ல தீஸ் ஆர் தி எக்ஸலண்ட். லெட்ஸ் சே நீங்க வந்து 30 year ஒரு ஹோம் வாங்குறீங்க, 30 year லோன் வாங்குறீங்க அப்படின்னா யூ கேன் கெட் ஜஸ்ட் இன்சூரன்ஸ், ரைட்? 30 year இன்சூரன்ஸ், டேர்ம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் ஃபார் தட் 450K. ஸோ எண்ட் ஆஃப் த மார்கேஜ் டேர்ம் நத்திங் happened அப்படின்னா தேர் கோயிங் டு கெட் தட் ரிட்டர்ன். If something happened, yes, the company can pay the mortgage company directly, the insurance company, even that family or don't have to involve directly. There are such options available.
Okay. எனக்கு நீங்க சொன்னதுல ஒரு பாயிண்ட் தான் கேட்கணும்னு. இப்போ ஒரு 20 வருஷம் இன்சூரன்ஸ் எடுக்கிறோம்னா ஒரு 15 வருஷம் பிரீமியம் எல்லாம் பே பண்றோம். அவங்க இன்சூரன்ஸும் நம்ம டாக்டர் நீங்க சொன்னீங்க எல்லாம் போய் செக் பண்ணுவாங்க. டாக்டர் ஆஃபீஸ்லலாம் எல்லா டீட்டெயிலையும் கலெக்ட் பண்ணி தான் அவங்க அப்ரூவ் பண்ணுவாங்க, இல்லாட்டி டினை பண்ணுவாங்க. நீங்க சப்போஸ் எல்லாம் அப்ரூவ் ஆயிடுச்சு, ஒரு 15 years கழிச்சு worst கேஸ்ல அந்த பர்சன் பாஸ்ட் அவேன்னு வைங்களேன், அப்போ வந்து ஃபேமிலி வந்து கேட்குறாங்க இன்சூரன்ஸ் பணத்துக்கு அப்ளை பண்றப்போ, அப்போ எப்படி கம்பெனிஸ் போய் அகைன் ஆல் ஓல்டு ஹிஸ்டரியை நோண்டி
அது பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. அதான்
பண்ணுவாங்களா?
இல்ல அது மாதிரி பண்ண மாட்டாங்க.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Only the 2 years restriction. After that, unless they have some reason to believe the person like lied in the insurance application, அப்படின்னா தான் delete பண்ணுவாங்க. Otherwise, there is no restriction.
Okay, okay. So அதான் the 2 years limitன்றீங்க. Okay, thank you.
சந்திரு சார், இன்னும் ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின். நம்ம வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்சூரன்ஸ், எம்ப்ளாயர் இல்லாம இண்டிவிஜுவல் இன்சூரன்ஸ் பத்தி பேசும்போது நீங்க you mentioned something about credit history, vaguely, maybe the insurance company goes back to your credit history and the mari edho sonna mari ஒரு ஞாபகம். ஒண்ணே என்னன்னா, இந்த how early can you start individual insurance once you start working in the United States, especially because as soon as you're eligible for the employer insurance, does it make you also eligible for the individual insurance?
Yes, individual insurance, there is no restriction, right?
Okay.
Anyone can, since just born, anyone can get life insurance.
Okay.
So only the difference is for kids, they don't have term insurance, only permanent insurance. For adults, the sooner they start, it's going to cost them less.
Okay.
Correct. ஏன்னா வந்து பிரீமியம் வந்து based on the age தான் இல்லைங்களா? So அதனால வந்து it will keep going up.
Okay.
So another factor வந்து health. So இன்னைக்கு ஹெல்த் வந்து next year இருக்குமான்னு சொல்ல முடியாது.
ஆமா.
So the waiting is like cost more basically.
கண்டிப்பா. So I think we come towards the end of the session. Last 1 minute, any questions? The floor is still open to questions for the last 1 minute. Ilana.
So Chandru, no question. நீங்க இப்ப இதுல இன்சூரன்ஸ் டீடைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் ஷேர் பண்றீங்களா? நீங்க என்னென்ன பாலிசி ப்ரொவைட் பண்றீங்க அப்படின்ட்டு?
இல்ல, the way எப்படி ஒர்க் ஆகும்னா, I will set up an appointment basically.
Okay.
For example, இப்ப உங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப் வேணும் அப்படின்னா I will set up some time. So அது எல்லாமே one-on-one தான். So Zoom sessionல வந்து I'll be able to provide more specific help.
நம்ம Zoom recordingல நம்ம சந்திரோட டீடைல்ஸ் கொடுத்துறலாம் சித்ரா, அவரோட இமெயிலும். ஸோ மெம்பர்ஸ் வந்து இண்டிவிஜுவலா கூட அப்ரோச் பண்ணி one-on-one அப்பாயின்மெண்ட் செட் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
Yeah, that will be helpful. ஏன்னா அவர் கான்டாக்ட் பண்ணனும், எப்படி ரீச் அவுட் பண்றாங்க, டீடைல்ஸ் ஷேர் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
கண்டிப்பா சித்ரா, நல்ல
ஸோ தேங்க்யூ. இன்னைக்கு வந்த எல்லாருக்கும், இங்க வர்ச்சுவலா ஜூம்ல பிரசன்ட் இருந்த எல்லாருக்கும் ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ். அண்ட் தேங்க்யூ சந்துரு சார். இது ஒரு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இன்ஃபர்மேட்டிவான ஒரு செஷன். நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போதே வந்து உங்ககிட்ட பேசும்போது நான் சொல்லிக்கிட்டு இருந்தேன், எனக்கு வந்து இது ரொம்ப ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கான ஒரு செஷன். எனக்கு இந்த நிறைய தெரியாத ஒரு விஷயம், நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ், நிறைய டவுட்ஸ். எப்படி சித்ரா கூட சொன்னாங்க, இது வந்து இந்தியா மாதிரி இருக்குமா இல்ல வித்தியாசமா இருக்குமா என்ன அப்படின்னு நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருந்தது ஆரம்பிக்கும் போது. ஸோ ஐ திங்க் நீங்க ரொம்ப அழகா அதை சமரைஸ் பண்ணி லைஃப் இன்சூரன்ஸ்னா என்ன, அதோடைய இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் என்ன, அது வந்து வாழ்க்கையில வந்து எவ்வளவு அது ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டன்டான சேவிங், நம்மளுக்கு மட்டும் இல்ல நம்மளுக்கு அடுத்து வர சந்ததிகளுக்கும் அது எவ்வளவு ஒரு முக்கியமான ஒரு விஷயம் அப்படிங்கறத ரொம்ப அழகா எடுத்து காமிச்சீங்க இன்னைக்கு. ஐ திங்க் இன்னைக்கு நிறைய பேர் நிறைய இதுல இருந்து நிறைய பெனிஃபிட் ஆயிருக்காங்க, நிறைய யூஸ்ஃபுல்லான நிறைய விஷயங்கள் கத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இந்த கொஸ்டின்ஸும் ரொம்ப அழகா இருந்தது. ஆடியன்ஸ் கிட்ட இருந்து நிறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் வந்து ஓ இந்த ஆங்கிள் இருந்து கூட இப்பெல்லாம் யோசிக்கலாமா, இவ்வளவு எல்லாம் இருக்கா இதுல அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயமா இருந்தது. கண்டிப்பா நம்ம வந்து நிறைய ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பத்தி பேசினோம். பட் ஐ திங்க் நிறைய பேருக்கு ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பத்தி நிறைய இன்னும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அட்லீஸ்ட் என்ன மாதிரி நிறைய ஆளுங்களுக்கு வந்து ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட் பத்தி நிறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், 50 வயசுல எப்படி அம்பானி ஆகுதுங்கிறத வந்து யோசிக்கணும்ன்ற மாதிரி நிறைய கனவுகள் இருக்குன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ராதா சார் வந்து கண்டிப்பா அதை ஒரு பாயிண்டா எடுத்துப்பாரு. அடுத்தது ஒரு ரிட்டையர்மெண்ட்டுக்கு அண்ட் சைல்ட் அந்த காலேஜ் சேவிங்ஸுக்குன்னே ஒரு தனி செஷன் கண்டிப்பா நம்ம வைப்போம்னு நான் எதிர்பார்க்கிறேன். மற்ற ரொம்ப நன்றி. இது ஒரு ரொம்ப அற்புதமான செஷன். ஸோ இன்னைக்கு வந்த எல்லாருக்கும் பிக் தேங்க்ஸ். டு க்ளோஸ் ஆஃப் இட், மறுபடியும் ஒரு ரிமைண்டர், மறந்துடாதீங்க, தானத்துல சிறந்த தானம் அன்னதானம், அதை விட அற்புதமான தானம் ரத்த தானம். ஸோ ப்ளீஸ் sign up for our blood camp. Thank you Chandru sir for your wonderful time and presence, and thank you Radha sir for the great opportunity.
Thank you Prashant. Thank you Radha. Thanks sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.